Imagine you are a federal program manager, right?
Okay, yeah.
And you're about to sign off on a massive, like, billion-dollar decision. The paperwork is completely done.
The scary part.
Exactly. It's finalized. But before your pen even hits the paper, an AI, one that is explicitly trained to role-play your absolute worst nightmare, redlines your entire memo.
Wow.
Yeah, it acts like a ruthless government auditor from, like, 18 months in the future. It points out every logical flaw, every weak piece of evidence. Welcome to this deep dive.
It is a profound shift, honestly. We're no longer talking about AI as, a tool that just writes a faster email.
We really aren't. Our mission for you today is built on this fascinating stack of confidential strategy documents. These are from May 2026.
And they are incredibly revealing.
Yeah, they really are. These aren't polished marketing brochures. These are internal practice investment decision instruments.
Right, the real behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. They detail exactly how the most sophisticated enterprises and governments are actually infusing AI into their workflows.
And not just playing around with it.
No, not at all. Our goal today is to cut through the relentless industry hype. We want to focus entirely on identifying specific use cases where AI capabilities deliver maximum impact.
Which is what everyone wants to know right now.
Right. We are looking at a landscape where AI acts as a hostile adversary, a time traveler, and an invisible workflow governor.
Is setting the stage here. What is crucial to understand from these strategy documents is that the market has decisively moved. We're out of the phase of, discovery. We are firmly in a phase of commitment. The burning question for enterprise leadership right now is no longer whether they should adopt AI. That debate is completely settled.
Oh, absolutely.
The question keeping them up at night is where their limited build and sell capacity and their limited operational resources will actually generate the most defensible, durable value.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can identify that maximum impact, we kind of have to understand how organizations are currently failing to achieve it.
And there are a lot of failures.
So many. The documents outline this three-level taxonomy for AI infusion. They call it L1, L2, and L3.
Right.
Let's see if I have this right. So an L1 infusion is classified as a sidecar or UI overlay.
Correct.
And L2 is API-driven augmentation, while L3 is core logic replacement.
That's the big one.
Yeah. So if I'm translating this into something you and I can easily picture, an L1 infusion is like slapping a smart GPS onto your car's dashboard.
That's a great way to look at it.
And then L2 is like wiring in an adaptive cruise control system.
It's integrated, but you're still in charge.
Right. But L3 is like trying to rip out the steering wheel and replace the entire internal combustion engine with an electric motor while the car is barreling down the highway.
That analogy captures the risk profile perfectly. It really does. And just like replacing an engine on the highway, misclassifying a use case is dangerous.
How so?
Well, jumping to an L3 level when an organization only has L1 data readiness is actually the single most common delivery failure mode cited in these documents.
Oh, wow. The most common.
By far. L3 requires massive data maturity and rigorous governance, because you are shifting the explainability burden entirely onto the AI. You are trusting the system's core logic to just run the process.
Which brings us to the anti-patterns. The sources explicitly list what these organizations need to reject immediately.
Yes, the things to avoid at all costs.
Right. And one of the biggest offenders is something they call junk in, junk out RAG.
RAG.
RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. For anyone who, isn't living in IT dashboards all day, think of it this way. Instead of an AI just using its general knowledge, REJ lets the AI read your specific company documents before it answers a question.
Which sounds great in theory.
It does. But the anti-pattern happens when a company plugs an AI into an ungoverned, messy SharePoint tenant.
Oh, yeah. The dumping ground.
Exactly. Basically, the giant digital filing cabinet where a company dumps all its shared files for a decade. The document says this will just produce confidently wrong answers.
Data readiness is a non-negotiable gate. It is not a nice-to-have feature.
It's foundational.
Right. If your underlying corporate data is full of outdated travel policies from 2019, duplicate project drafts, and contradictory spreadsheets, a highly sophisticated AI will simply serve you that garbage data.
Just faster and more articulately.
Exactly.
I see the logic there. But here is an anti-pattern I want to push back on, or at least dig into a bit.
Okay, sure.
The documents call it OOTB cosplay. Out-of-the-box cosplay. They are actively telling consultants not to sell custom AI development for things like decorative chat with your data buttons.
Right.
My question is, why would a major consulting firm refuse to take millions of dollars to build custom AI if a client is explicitly asking for it?
Well, what's fascinating here is that this specific failure happens because the client lacks foresight. They don't see the broader software platform roadmap.
Meaning what?
A buyer sees a shiny custom demo today and doesn't realize that same capability is going to be shipped as a native, out-of-the-box feature by Microsoft or Salesforce in just 6
Oh,
months.
so they'd be paying for something they'll get for free anyway.
Exactly. The documents note that selling expensive custom accelerators for something that will soon be free native functionality is incredibly damaging.
Reputationally damaging, you mean?
Yes, it's the most reputationally damaging pattern you can engage in with sophisticated buyers. And there is a staggering metric in the sources that explains why these custom builds become toxic to a company's budget.
I think I know the metric you're talking about.
Yeah, 80 to 85% of an AI application's total cost of ownership is actually buried. It's in data pipelines, human-in-the-loop review layers, monitoring and maintaining the operating environment.
Wait, I want to make sure I'm hearing that correctly. The actual AI model, the initial build that everyone hikes up, only accounts for 15 to 20% of the cost.
The initial bill is just the tip of the iceberg.
That's insane.
The cost explosion happens the moment a pilot program scales up to full production. A custom workflow that costs $500 a month in compute power for a small 10-user pilot that can easily hit $50,000 a month when rolled out to 5,000 employees.
Yeah, that math scales horribly.
And if you are paying that massive ongoing maintenance and compute cost for a bespoke tool that you could have just turned on natively within your existing software suite, your return on investment completely vanishes.
Okay, so with the failure modes and the money pits out of the way, where is the fastest time to value?
The quick wins.
Right, where are the quick wins that actually justify the investment? Because the sources point to some very specific, high-impact, low-hanging fruit.
They do, yeah.
For instance, the M365 Copilot Adoption Accelerator. The documents state this yields roughly a 180% return on investment at just 2.5 hours saved per user per month.
It's a very specific claim.
It is. And I have to admit, whenever I hear numbers like 180% return in 8 weeks in the tech world, my marketing hype alarm goes off. What is the catch here?
The catch is that it requires rigorous baseline measurement, which, frankly, most organizations skip entirely.
Oh, sure. They just deploy it and hope for the best.
Right. But the math itself is solid when applied to heavy document processing workflows. The sources back this up with another benchmark from the GSA Assist system.
That's a major federal procurement platform, right?
Yes, exactly. A massive federal procurement and project management platform. They rolled out SharePoint Premium Document Intelligence to extract specific metadata like names, dates, clauses from huge contracts.
And what were the results?
The benchmark targets an 80% reduction in manual data entry time.
Cutting manual data entry by 80% is a massive operational shift.
It's game-changing for those teams.
Think about how many hours your own team spends just like copy-pasting information from a PDF into a spreadsheet.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the maximum impact for the firms deploying this technology isn't actually in the AI models themselves.
Really? Because that's all anyone talks about.
I know, but generative AI for drafting emails or basic document intelligence is commoditizing incredibly fast. You can get that anywhere now.
So where's the value then?
The defensible value, the real moat that protects a company, lies entirely in the governance layer.
Meaning what exactly? Break down that governance layer for me.
So, maximum impact requires human-in-the-loop architecture. It requires deploying tools like Microsoft Purview sensitivity labels.
Review.
Think of Purview as a digital bouncer for your data. It automatically reads and tags documents as public, confidential, or top secret. So the AI inherently knows what it is and isn't allowed to access or summarize for a specific user.
Oh, so it stops the AI from accidentally reading the CEO's private emails and summarizing them for an intern?
Exactly, and it requires deploying in highly regulated sovereign cloud environments like GCC High. That's the secure cloud infrastructure required for defense and federal clients.
Got it.
The value proposition to the client isn't just, hey, we built an AI. The value proposition is we built an AI that will not inadvertently violate federal compliance laws or leak your intellectual property when your thousands of employees start using it.
That reframes the whole conversation. But while quick wins are great for basic ROI, maximum impact requires strategic bets. Bets that fundamentally change how complex work gets done.
And this takes us to the true frontier detailed in the documents.
Yes. Multi-agent orchestration. We are moving away from a single, all-knowing chatbot to swarms of specialized agents.
This is the inflection point. The helpful assistant paradigm is left behind entirely here.
The documents detail this incredible specific use case, an ERP exception swarm.
ERP being enterprise resource planning.
Right, basically the central nervous system of a company's finances and supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Say you have a complex finance exception, like a massive purchase order mismatch where the invoice doesn't match the received goods.
It's a huge headache in corporate finance.
Exactly. Instead of one monolithic AI trying to figure out the whole mess, a swarm attacks it. You have specialist AI analyzers.
They break up the problem.
Right. One agent is dedicated purely to checking matching line items. Another agent looks exclusively at historical vendor behavior. And a third checks the latest state tax policies.
And then they bring it all together.
Yeah. A lightweight arbiter agent sits above them. It takes the findings from the three specialists, ranks the alternatives, and presents a complete, cited evidence pack to a human reviewer.
It's incredibly efficient.
I understand the efficiency there, but I have to ask, isn't it profoundly dangerous to let AI loose in a highly regulated financial system?
It sounds risky, yes.
Like letting multiple AIs argue with each other about tax policy sounds like a financial controller's absolute worst nightmare.
That hesitation is exactly why this represents a critical architectural shift from assistive UX to governed action.
Governed action, okay.
The goal of a swarm is never unconstrained autonomy. No one is giving the swarm the authority to actually write checks or approve payments on its own.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. It is about action executed strictly through policy-constrained tools. The swarm operates within a quarantined sandbox environment. It undergoes rigorous simulation testing.
So it's heavily contained.
Exactly. And most importantly, there are mandatory human approval gates. The swarm performs the heavy, exhausting cognitive lifting, gathering, and synthesizing thousands of data points across disconnected silos. But the human retains the final, absolute authority to click approve or reject.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Taking that governed action a step further, the highest leverage AI doesn't just help you do a task faster, it actually stress tests your decisions.
The documents call this contrarian AI.
Yes. And one of the most mind-bending concepts here is what they call the memo auditor's ghost.
It is a brilliant inversion of how people typically utilize generative AI today.
Let me explain the mechanism of this to you because it's wild. We talked about this in the intro. Say a federal program manager is drafting a justification for a major policy shift.
A very high-stakes document.
Exactly. Instead of using AI to just proofread the grammar or tighten up the prose, an AI agent is instructed to role-play the most aggressive inspector general auditor it can imagine, specifically from 18 months in the future.
That time travel aspect is so clever.
And the AI isn't just making up critiques. It is mathematically grounded in decades of historical GAO findings.
GAO being the Government Accountability Office.
Right, the supreme audit institution of the federal government.
Yeah.
The AI analyzes the draft and actually redlines the memo to flag weak evidence chains or unsupported assertions before the memo is ever signed or becomes public record.
Think about the systemic asymmetry it solves here.
What do you mean?
Program staff are fundamentally graded on speed and execution. Auditors, however, are graded on hindsight and finding flaws.
That's a huge disconnect.
It is. The auditor's ghost AI absorbs that asymmetry. It acts as a deliberate brake, rather than an accelerator, ensuring the robust defensibility of the decision.
We just talked about using contrarian AI to stress test a text document. But what happens when the stakes aren't just words on a page, but millions of real people?
The stakes get significantly higher.
Exactly. How do you stress test the math behind a policy? That leads to another massive use case, the synthetic beneficiary cohort.
This is a vital capability for the public sector.
Say a state agency that manages programs like Medicaid or SNAP is considering changing an eligibility rule.
Historically, a government agency might backtest this proposed rule change on a small, clean, historical data set. They roll it out to the public and then wait to see if they get sued because of unintended consequences.
Exactly the problem. The sources specifically reference the TennCare Connect litigation.
Right, a very real example.
That was a real-world scenario where a flawed algorithm rollout led to erroneous health coverage denials at scale for vulnerable populations.
A complete disaster.
So to prevent that kind of disaster, you use AI to generate a synthetic beneficiary cohort. You ask the AI to generate up to 100,000 synthetic profiles.
These are entirely fake people, right?
Yes, entirely fake. So you aren't violating privacy or HITL laws,
Yeah,
but their data is mathematically grounded in the real demographic and economic distributions of the state.
that's brilliant.
You run these 100,000 fake profiles through the newly proposed eligibility rules in a simulated sandbox.
And what you are looking for are disparate impact patterns. Does this new rule inadvertently deny coverage to a specific racial demographic? Are there bizarre edge case denials for seasonal workers?
You find out before it goes live.
Exactly. You surface these systemic biases before the policy ever affects real people. It functions as a pre-mortem simulator to prevent catastrophic real-world harm.
It is using AI to anticipate failure, just like the contracting officer's sparring partner.
Another great application of contrarian AI.
Federal contracting officers are responsible for negotiating multi-million-dollar deals. Now, they can literally practice their negotiation tactics in Microsoft Teams against an AI. And this AI is role-playing the absolute toughest, most stubborn vendor imaginable.
And again, the AI isn't just hallucinating this persona.
Right. It is grounded in actual past contract disputes, emails, and modifications with that specific vendor. It allows junior staff to get dozens of practice reps against the toughest counterparties they will ever face before they ever pick up the real phone.
You are looking at a highly scalable solution to severe workforce gaps here.
Oh yeah, training takes forever.
Across enterprise and government sectors, you have chronic understaffing and high turnover in these incredibly complex procurement roles. The AI becomes an interactive training ground that uses the organization's own historical proprietary data as the curriculum.
Okay, so we've seen AI audit memos, role-play aggressive vendors, and simulate entire state populations.
Like the list.
But how does AI deliver maximum impact across the daily grind of multiple disconnected software platforms? Because right now, for most of us, every system we use at work is an island.
Silos everywhere.
Your email doesn't talk to your HR software, which doesn't talk to your finance dashboard.
This is where AI evolves to become the cross-system connective tissue.
The sources outline a capability called a context bridge copilot. It acts as a persistent enterprise memory layer.
How does that work in practice?
Think about this scenario. If a customer calls a support line about an incredibly complex billing issue, the support agent takes notes in their specific call center software. But if that same customer emails a different department the next day, usually all that rich context is lost unless someone manually digs through the old system.
Which rarely happens.
Right. The context bridge persists that memory securely across the different applications. The AI understands that the email in Outlook is connected to the call log in Salesforce. It saves users and customers from endlessly repeating themselves.
It breaks down the silos that slow everything down, but the much more frontier concept detailed in the documents is the policy to workflow compiler.
Oh, this one is fascinating, but it also terrified me when I first read it.
It is a profound capability. Imagine a massive global company updates its travel and expense policy, or perhaps a complex leave eligibility rule.
Okay.
Historically, the HR or finance team updates a PDF, they email it out to everyone, and then a team of IT people has to manually go into the ERP system, the HR system, the approval matrices, and painstakingly update the hard-coded logic to match the text in the new PDF.
Wait, I need to stop you there. Because the documents state that this new AI compiler takes the updated policy document, reads the natural language, and directly translates that text into proposed updates for the workflow rules across all those different software systems.
That's exactly what it does.
An AI reading a PDF and rewriting the hard-coded logic of an enterprise HR system sounds like an absolute recipe for disaster. How does it actually do that without breaking the company?
This raises an important question. If an AI is interpreting a PDF to rewrite system logic, the compliance risk is enormous.
Massive.
So how do we prevent organizations from blindly trusting else compilers? The mechanism here relies on generating what we call configuration diffs.
Diffs, like differences.
Essentially, yes. It's a proposed line-by-line list of before and after changes to the system code. The AI generates this code in a quarantined sandbox. It does not have autonomous deployment rights to push those changes live.
Oh, okay, so it's just a proposal.
Yes. The safeguard is rigorous evaluation sets and explicit human ownership.
So the AI is doing the tedious translation, but a human is holding the keys.
Precisely. A human software engineer or system administrator still has to review the proposed configuration changes, test them in the sandbox, and hit approve.
Yeah, it makes me feel much better.
We have to treat AI as an engine for uncertainty reduction, not just blind task automation. The AI dramatically reduces the uncertainty of whether the IT team caught every single instance of the rule change hidden across a dozen different software platforms, but the human being formally validates the logic.
So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? If you're looking to find maximum impact in your own organization, you shouldn't just ask how AI can help someone draft a weekly update email 10% faster.
That is table stakes now.
Exactly. You should be asking how AI can act as a persistent memory layer across your fragmented software. How can it act as a workflow governor to spot administrative bottlenecks in real time?
How can it act as an adversary?
Yes. To stress test your biggest, most consequential decisions before they become public liabilities.
It requires fundamentally changing the architecture of how work actually flows through an organization.
Which brings me to one final, incredible use case from the sources that I want to leave you with to mull over. They call it inverse onboarding, or a departing employee knowledge forensic.
What many industries are currently calling the great forgetting.
Right. Think about the smartest person at your own company. The one who knows how everything actually works. The one who knows all the unwritten rules.
Every company has one.
When a senior expert with 30 years of experience retires, deep tribal knowledge walks out the door. But what if, instead of just a generic one-hour exit interview, an AI agent reconstructed their implicit decisions?
By analyzing their digital footprint.
Exactly. By running across their lawfully accessible corporate footprint, their past emails, their calendar scheduling patterns, their teams, chats, the AI surfaces, the unstated heuristics they applied.
It finds the hidden patterns.
It notices patterns like, oh, whenever a vendor dispute involves this specific region, you always checked this secondary database first. The AI converts that invisible, intuitive context into a documented, searchable playbook for their successor.
It captures the profound why behind the daily work, rather than just the procedural what.
So as we wrap up today, I want you to consider your own daily operations. Is your organization prepared to capture the tribal knowledge that is about to walk out the door?
A critical question.
Are you merely using AI as a helpful assistant? Or are you ready to deploy it as a time traveler, an adversary, and the foundational memory of your entire enterprise? Thank you for joining us on this intellectual exploration. We'll see you on the next deep dive.